Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, we had a whole bunch of matches go on over the weekend and today. We had 4 today, 2 of them in the morning, 2 of them in the, afternoon. I guess all 4 of them in the morning if you live on the West Coast. But nonetheless, we had Uruguay, Russia today, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and then we had Portugal, Iran, and Spain, Morocco. Okay. We're going to spend this first segment talking about those matches. Second segment, we're going to talk about Germany. All right, we'll probably talk about Mexico too in that second segment. Third segment, we'll talk about the Belgium group, and we'll talk about England also, like I said. And the fourth segment, we'll talk about Colombia's matches also. All right, then we got some matches tomorrow to look forward to, so we'll be talking about that at the end of the show. All right, so that's how today's show is going to go. Going to be a very interesting one. And, this World Cup, I'd say, has been one of the best in a while. Just given the fact that we haven't had any 0-0 goalless draws, all these games have been really entertaining. All right, and these teams that park the bus, they do so in a manner where it's not necessarily boring. All right, and maybe that's just me. Like I said, I compared Iceland to Floyd Mayweather. Okay, obviously Floyd Mayweather are a whole lot more successful than Iceland. There's a point where how do you say, you got to appreciate the style, okay? Look deeper into it rather than saying, oh yeah, they're playing 10 in the back. This is boring. All right, appreciate the organization, appreciate the man marking and all that. All right, but nonetheless, like I said, I've enjoyed this World Cup big time. I don't think I've really had a bad moment so far. Knock on wood, but we've done, it's done well too. Pretty much, there haven't been really any big injuries or anything like that, so hopefully it stays that way. All right, obviously we had Matt Hummels missing the game against Sweden on Saturday, but nonetheless, it's not one where it's going to keep him out for the rest of the tournament. The only way he's out for the rest of the tournament is if just Germany keeps him out that way. All right, so we'll see. But nonetheless, we'll talk about that and all that in the second segment. But here today, like I said, we had Uruguay, Russia. Going into this match, I wasn't too sure what to expect. I figured that I think my pick was Russia. Obviously, I was wrong since Uruguay ended up winning 3-0. All right, you had Russia playing down 10 men. Own goal from Denis Cherchev. Cavani and Suarez scored, and they pretty much did their thing here. Okay. Russia took care of business against Saudi Arabia and Egypt. That's why they're in the next round. And it's a point where, I feel like picking Russia against Uruguay wasn't necessarily the craziest thing to do, given the fact that Uruguay haven't really looked too dominant so far. Okay, they played Saudi Arabia and Egypt too. They only beat them by 1 goal each. Russia beat Saudi Arabia by 5. They beat Egypt by, 2 or 3? All right, it was somewhere around there. Okay. And going into this match, I just wasn't sure that Uruguay was just going to play well. Of course, their defense is going to show up. This is their 3rd clean sheet in 3 matches so far in the World Cup. There's a point where Suarez and Cavani haven't necessarily made the most of their chances. Today, obviously, they did. Suarez scoring on a free kick, Cavani getting into the box and tapping a goal in. Okay. And watching this game, it was easy to tell that Russia just lacked creativity in the final third. Okay. That's all it was, I think. Russia had opportunities, and they'd get the ball down to the final third near the box, but it's just a point where it seemed they didn't know what to do. Okay, it was either a bad cross or it was either one too many passes. All right. I think Russia easily could have came away with a result here. But like I said, when you lack creativity in the final third, you're not going to score goals. All right. There's a point where, like I said, they constantly got the ball down there, but it'd be a bad pass, or bad cross, I should say, for a goal kick. Or it'd be one where, I can't remember exactly who the Russian player was, but he had it at the top of the box. Could have taken a shot, it looked like, but ends up passing it and makes a bad pass, so it goes all the way down to the side. All right. There was just little things like that for Russia. But, I mean, now that this group is now done, I'd say that it turned out the way most expected it to. I picked Egypt to make it out that group. I think I was being a bit of too much of a believer in Mo Salah. All right. I think I should have went with Russia, obviously, in hindsight. But nonetheless, these are the two best teams to make it out the group. And obviously, they're going to be playing, well, Uruguay's going to be playing Portugal. Russia's going to be playing Spain. But like I said, I mean, Russia played well. Uruguay, they did their job. Okay. I understand that they lost, or they won 1-0 to both Saudi Arabia and Egypt. And that's not really too convincing, but nonetheless, I mean, 3 clean sheets in 3 matches. Plus, it looks like Suarez and Cavani are starting to get into the flow of things. Uruguay could be a dangerous team, and it's going to be a tough match for Portugal to get past. Okay. And as for Russia, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up beating Spain in the round of 16. All right. Spain aren't necessarily playing too well. Today, they played Morocco. They only drew 2-2. All right. Morocco, they're not necessarily a bad team either, Morocco. Okay. Morocco were the better team against Iran. It's just the fact that they ended up hitting the own goal, which made Iran win. Against Portugal, they had multiple opportunities to score. They had most of the possession. All right, put up plenty of shots. It's just they couldn't put it in the back of the net. And here with Spain, they just couldn't keep them away. All right. Morocco had the lead twice. They scored first. Spain tied it up with Isco. Then Morocco scores again in the second half, which makes it 2-1. And then like the 93rd minute, you have Igor Aspas scoring, which made it 2-2. And Morocco ended with a draw here. Okay, Morocco easily could have made it out the group if they were just more clinical. All right, I was surprised by their showing, actually, too. I didn't think they were going to play this well, but nonetheless, they did. And as for Spain, I mean, Isco put it perfectly. Okay, he said that next up is the life and death matches, pretty much talking about the group stage and all. And they can't be giving up goals like that, like sloppy goals. And it's true. All right, Spain, as far as their defense, has been pretty shaky. Okay, against Iran, they probably could have gave up a couple. It's just Iran wasn't clinical. And against Portugal, they gave up 3 to Ronaldo. All right. One, of course, was a free kick, but you blame that free kick on PK, considering the fact that he shouldn't have fouled him so close to the box. All right, and then here against Morocco, you give up 2 goals when they couldn't score against Iran or Portugal. All right. You're playing a Russia team who likes to attack, who, obviously, I mean, against Saudi Arabia and Egypt, looked like they were clinical. Against Uruguay, not so much. But Russia's not necessarily a bad team. All right, at least from how they've played so far. And, of course, Spain are the favorites, and I expect Spain to win that game. But it's just a point where Russia could upset them. And it wouldn't be necessarily a shock for me. Okay. So we'll see about it. But like I said, Spain does need to work on the defense. Then you got Portugal versus Iran today. Okay. Iran nearly did it. They nearly made it out the group. All right. You had Ricardo Quaresma scoring in the first half. Ronaldo missing a penalty in the second, where if Ronaldo would have hit it, that basically would have put the game away. You got Iran scoring a penalty in this match also off of VAR, and VAR seems to be a hot topic. I like it sometimes and I don't. All right, it's just a matter of FIFA just has to keep implementing it. Okay, they can't take it away after this tournament or anything like that. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, Iran scores off a penalty. And they're trying to, and it's like in the 91st minute when they score 2. So they're trying to come back with the little time they got left, and they nearly do. All right, I can't remember the Iranian player who nearly made the goal, but he ends up taking a shot, ends up hitting it on the wrong side of the post, and misses. Okay. That was it right there for Iran. They scored that. I mean, the fans would have erupted. Country would have went wild. Okay. Iran, most likely, I'd say deserve to make it out their group, considering their performances, but it's just a point where when you're playing in a group with Portugal and Spain, you got to be better than perfect. Okay? And Iran weren't better than perfect. They were good enough. All right. So, well, obviously, I guess you could say they weren't good enough considering the fact that they didn't make it out. But you get the point I'm trying to make here. All right. Iran and Morocco definitely surprised a lot of people. I mean, everyone expected this group to pretty much come down to Portugal and Spain, but of course, Iran had a chance, and Morocco didn't even play poorly in this tournament. So I don't think they really have anything to hang their heads on. But nonetheless, I mean, we did have Egypt and Saudi Arabia. 2-1 win for Saudi Arabia. Egypt, you had Mohamed Salah scoring. I mean, Egypt yet to win a World Cup match. Mohamed Salah can't do it on his own. All right. And it turns out Egypt were the worst team in this group since Saudi Arabia came away with points. All right. Saudi Arabia did pretty well, I guess. I mean, put up a decent showing against Uruguay. Against Russia, obviously, that was tough, playing them in the first match. But nonetheless, I mean, hats off to Saudi Arabia there. All right. Saudi Arabia, another win here. Well, and I think it's like their second World Cup win, I'd say. So maybe we could see them in the next World Cup in 2022. Who knows? But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, we got Uruguay, Portugal. That's going to be a very good game. And then Russia, Spain, which I also think is going to be a decent game too. All right. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams play in the round of 16 against each other. But next up, we're going to be talking about Germany. I'm going to tell you why we need to pump the brakes on them a bit. And we're also going to be talking about Mexico's game. And we'll see if we can fit in another one after that. Or we'll just move on to the third. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking to get your college football fix? Looking to get the latest news on your favorite school's team? The GSMC College Football Podcast is your ticket to all things college football. Join us as we talk college football from the national championship, the college rivalries, the bowl game, to the Heisman Trophy. To which conference is the best? We've got you covered for the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, the Pac-12, ACC, and everything in between. Download the GSMC College Football Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. We spent that first segment talking about Monday's matches. We had Saudi Arabia, Egypt. I mean, 2-1 Saudi Arabia, not much there. Okay. We had Russia, Uruguay, the best match of, I'd say the most, probably the best match amongst the best teams in that group. All right, Uruguay won that one 3-0. All right. Then we had Spain and Morocco playing today. Spain ended up drawing 2-2. Morocco put in a decent match. And then we had Iran, Portugal. Iran nearly came away with the win, but came up short. Ended up drawing 1-1, so Portugal makes it out the group there. Okay. Now we got Uruguay, Portugal in the round of 16, and Spain, Russia. Would not be surprised if Russia beats Spain. And, I mean, it's going to be tough for Portugal to get past Uruguay. Uruguay's got one of the best defenses in the World Cup, so we'll see about it. But nonetheless, now we talk about this weekend's matchups. This past weekend that we move on to. Russia. Not Russia. Germany. Okay. Germany, first match, lose to Mexico 1-0. We saw that Germany's problem in that match was the fact that they didn't really switch anything up. All right, play through the outside backs, push them up, cross the ball in the middle, hope to score. That obviously didn't work. Okay. So, of course, you think, what are they going to do to try and change things up here? I mean, they do make some starting 11 changes. Take out Khedira. He doesn't even play. They play Sebastian Rudy. And then you take out Ozil. He doesn't play either. And you throw in Royce. All right, Marco Royce got the start. So I'm watching the game, okay? And Germany doesn't change up anything. Nothing at all. All right, still playing through the outside backs, trying to cross it into the middle and score that way. That doesn't necessarily work when you got all the Swedish defenders in the box. You got to try and break it down through the middle. Germany did not try that. And I mean, maybe they didn't try it given the fact that Sweden was trying to park the bus, but there's a point where if it's not working one way, you got to do something else, and they didn't. Okay? So nonetheless, Sweden has opportunities. I'd say that Sweden was the better team in the first half. Okay, there was one where Germany was playing with it in the back. They ended up losing the ball. Sweden's player got a one-on-one with Neuer, and he shoots it right at Neuer's chest. Okay? Neuer came out, obviously, but nonetheless, the Swedish player could have did better there. All right. Anyway, though, we get to the 32nd minute, and Ola Toivonen scores for Sweden. Great goal. All right, you got the Swedish winger coming down the right side, crosses it over. All right, Toivonen chests it down, flicks it up over Neuer for a chip. It goes in. I mean, a great goal all around, great control, great pass, everything. Okay. And it's like, oh, it's happening against Germany again. And it was. Nothing changed. Okay? Nothing. Germany didn't try playing it through the middle or anything like that. So Germany's struggling to score. After that, second half comes and they finally get one. They get one in the 48th minute. Wasn't a great goal or anything like that. One where Germany was lucky that Marco Reus was on the end of. All right. Ball gets played into the middle, bounces around a bit. Falls to Marco Reus. He puts it in the back of the net. So it's 1-1. Okay. 71st minute, Jerome Boateng comes up with a yellow card. That's significant considering the fact that in the 82nd minute, he also gets another yellow card. What does 2 yellow cards mean, kids? It means it's a red card. So we got a red. Germany are playing with 10 men now. And it's basically hold on for the draw. All right, Sweden's doing well, and it seems that the game's going to end in draw. Until we get to the 95th minute, which was the last minute of stoppage time. Okay. Sweden commits a bad foul at the edge of the box on the left side. And this is Germany's last opportunity. This is pretty much the last kick of the game here. Okay. I think it's Kroos and Toni Kroos and I can't remember exactly who else. Oh, Marco Reus. He's lined up with Marco Reus next to the ball. All right. Ball gets laid off for Toni Kroos, again at the left side of the box at the edge. And Kroos does about as well as you can on the shot, curves it in for a goal. Literally last kick of the game. Okay? Germany take the 2-1 lead, and it finishes Germany winning 2-1. Then, after that, we get the whole, is Germany back? This is the Germany team we expected. Germany didn't play well in this match. If not for a bad foul by Sweden, this game ends in a draw, and the narrative is switched over to what's going on with Germany. All right. How close are they to missing out in this group? All right. And, I mean, they needed the win. If I'm not mistaken, they would have been knocked out of the group if they didn't win. All right. Am I reading that right? Yeah, they would have been knocked out. Sweden would have had 4. Mexico would have had 6. Okay? Or actually, no, they wouldn't have been knocked out because Germany would have had 1 still. And they would have had an opportunity to come back. The only team that would have went through with Germany or Sweden and Germany tying was Mexico. Okay? But nonetheless, I'm not going to go out and say, oh, yeah, Germany's back. All right? Yeah, they had 18 shots. Yeah, they had 6 on goal. Yeah, they had 75% possession. They weren't convincing. It took a last-second goal for them to come away with 3 points. Obviously, a win's a win, but there's a point where Germany didn't play well, and we need to realize that. All right, Germany isn't completely out the woods here. They still got to play a South Korea team who isn't the most technically gifted, but of course, let's say that Hummels doesn't play because of his injury on Wednesday. You're still without Boateng too due to the red card. Who's to say that Son can go out and cause havoc on that Germany defense? All right, Hummels' replacement, Rudiger, was the one who gave up that first goal to Sweden. Okay, that was on him. So I'm not going to go out and say Germany's back. They're the favorites still. They haven't impressed me. All right. I'd say for most of the match, Sweden was the better team. And I'd say, let's say Germany doesn't end up getting that second goal. Sweden probably played the best out of the two. All right. So I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment and go out and jump out and say, oh yeah, definitely Germany's back. All right. I would not be surprised at all if they still miss out on making it out the group. And even then, so they make it out, they're probably going to have to play Brazil, given the fact that they need Mexico to lose by more than a few goals in order for them to make it to the first, make it in as the first team in the group. All right, top team in the group. Obviously, you need Germany to beat South Korea, but that's not out of the realm of possibilities there, obviously. Do we think that this Germany team could beat Brazil in the round of 16? I don't think so. I don't like the way this German team has played. All right, so it's going to be very interesting. But nonetheless, that wasn't the only game on Saturday we had. We had South Korea, Mexico. Mexico took care of business here. Goals by Chicharito and Carlos Vela. You had Heung-min Son scoring in the 93rd minute. I mean, a perfect goal. Nothing Ochoa could really do about it. I mean, it was through traffic and all, outside the box. So now Mexico, of course, I'm sure they would have wanted to make it out of the group after match day 2. But of course, with Germany scoring, Mexico isn't completely safe yet. Okay? And Mexico definitely, for match day 3 against Sweden, needs to come out swinging. This isn't one where you can afford a loss. Okay, Mexico's played too well to just throw it all the way up to the third match. Okay, I do think they could beat Sweden, but of course Mexico has been a team where they tend to coast. Okay, they tend to play down. This is like a bit of a trap game for Mexico here. All they need is a draw and they're through. All right, but Mexico shouldn't play for a draw. If anything, Juan Carlos Osorio needs to go with a lineup of... He needs to start Jesus Corona, I think. All right, and if not, stick with what you've been throwing out there. Okay, but nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see. And even South Korea is not completely out of it. I think there's one where if they beat Germany by 2 or whatnot, and Mexico beats Sweden by 2, something like that. Let's see. Let's look at the standings, actually, the group. So, yeah. Germany loses to South Korea by 2 and Mexico beats Sweden by 2. Then South Korea ends up making it in. Or making it out the group. Okay. And like I said, Germany hasn't played well. Obviously, they're a whole lot better than South Korea. But I'm not going to go out and say it's a given that Germany's going to win. And Mexico is more than capable of beating Sweden by 2 goals. Okay. So Wednesday's matches is going to be very interesting to watch there. All right. And I think these teams both play at 7 on Wednesday. Yeah, they both play at 7 at Wednesday. All right. Then we got Costa Rica, Switzerland, and Serbia, Brazil at 11 that same day. So, like I said, Germany not completely safe yet, and they haven't really impressed me too much, even in that win against Sweden. Obviously, the Toni Kroos goal was one to remember, but let's not forget how poorly Germany played in that match. Okay? So it's going to be real interesting. Like I said, Mexico's not even completely out, and they've been far and away the best team in that group. Okay? But if Mexico's for real, then they need to beat Sweden. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, Mexico's played too well, like I said, to just throw it all away after that third match. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking Belgium, Tunisia, England, Panama. We're going to talk about both those teams. I mean, England and Belgium have been teams who have always had high expectations, but seemingly always underperformed under them. Maybe this year is different. We'll talk about it, what I've learned from both of these teams. So stay tuned for that, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. Spent the first two segments talking about, you'll never guess it, soccer. All right, we talked about today's matches, Monday's matches in the first segment. Russia and Uruguay playing today. Uruguay beating them 3-0. Saudi Arabia beating Egypt 2-1. Very disappointing World Cup for Egypt. Unable to come away with a win in those three matches. Morocco and Spain drawing 2-2, and then Iran and Portugal drawing 1-1. I mean, Iran didn't make it out the group, but do you consider this a successful World Cup for them? Considering the fact that they didn't come away with a loss. They beat Morocco. Yes, it was on an own goal. Nonetheless, they still get the 3 points. And they drew with Spain and Portugal, two very good teams. I mean, I'd say it was a successful one. All right. Then for the second segment, we talked about Germany. I get the fact that they won. They beat Sweden and all. Now people want to crown them champs again and want to talk about how, oh yeah, they're back, they're playing well. No, they didn't play well. They did the exact same thing against Mexico, and they got lucky considering the fact that they needed Tony Cruz to bail them out at the end of the match. Okay? Don't be a prisoner of the moment. All right? At all. They didn't switch anything up. Game plan was, play the ball to Kimmich. Kimmich crossed the ball over in the middle. Okay? They haven't switched anything up yet, so I'm not a believer in Germany just about yet. Okay, and we talked about Mexico. Mexico's not completely safe either. They got to draw with Sweden at least to make it out the group. They lose, they're going to be in some trouble. I think the only way they're in really big trouble is if they end up losing by 2 to Sweden. All right, which is going to be tough. I mean, Mexico, Juan Carlos Osorio have done well so far to switch up tactics and match up well with the team that they're playing. So I doubt we'll see a lot of lineup changes there for Mexico. But it's a point where maybe you throw in a Jesus Corona possibly to start. Maybe you could throw Vela behind Chicharito. Who knows? Okay. But like I said, I mean, Mexico's not out of the woods yet, so they got to be sure that they're ready. So nonetheless, we did have more games going on over the weekend. We had Group H? All right, I think it is. No, what group is Belgium in? Belgium is in Group G. All right. So we had Belgium playing Tunisia, and Tunisia put out a decent showing, a great showing, I'd say, against England. Nearly came away with points. Figured it was going to be a tough matchup for Belgium. Belgium said, no, we're fine. Okay, you had Eden Hazard scoring twice, Lukaku scoring twice, and Michy Batshuayi scoring for Belgium, which made it 5 goals. And then, of course, you had the 2 from Tunisia. All right, goals from Wabi Kaziri and Dylan Braun. All right. Belgium, like I said, I don't want to give them too much credit considering the fact that they did beat Panama and Tunisia. All right, they've done their job, but when top teams like this play poor quality teams, you look to see how well the top team played. Looking at how Belgium played, I'd say that they were very organized, kept their shape, and stuck to their game plan. And that's why they were so dominant. Okay, they look like they're all on the same page. They're all playing really well. And I think that this Belgium team can do something at this World Cup. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to give them too much credit for beating Tunisia and Panama. But, like I said, paying attention to those points, yes, they've played well. And yes, they've looked strong. Okay. And now you got their game against England on Thursday. That's going to be a tough one for both. Okay? I would not be surprised if it ended in a draw. But nonetheless, I'd say that right now, I don't know. Who do you think's look better between England and Belgium since they've played 2 of the same teams so far? I'd say it's got to be Belgium right now. Okay? And also, too, I mean, let's not forget that they left Nainggolan at home. I thought that was going to be a problem for them. So far, it's turned out not to be one, okay? But of course, you're playing Panama and Tunisia. With or without Nainggolan, you're expected to win easily and look good doing it. Let's see if having no Nainggolan is going to be a problem against England. All right, I'm not too sure it is considering the fact that lineups look good, formations look good. Axel Witsel and De Bruyne have done well to command the middle. So I think they'll be fine. But nonetheless, like I said, it's always something that could come up. Speaking of Nainggolan, looks like he's going to be playing at Inter Milan too. So we'll see maybe if Inter can make it back to being one of the top teams in the world. All right. The Serie A teams like Milan, Inter, Juventus, they've kind of gotten away from being like so dominant amongst teams all over the world. Juventus have always been near the top, but Inter and Milan, like I said, have just completely fallen off. Now it's like they're trying to make their way back, so we'll see if they can. All right, obviously with Inter bringing in Nainggolan, that's a huge signing right there, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. All right, but nonetheless, we also did have England and Panama. I thought this one was going to be a bit of a scrappy game for England here. I thought they were going to have some trouble with Panama, but turns out England knows how to play CONCACAF teams. All right? I mean, watching Panama play in CONCACAF, it's like they're going to play a little bit dirty and they're just going to try their hardest to come away with a 0-0 draw. All right, England obviously wasn't going to have any of that, and they came prepared. All right, this was a great game plan by Gareth Southgate and the team. You had Harry Kane with the hat trick, John Stones scoring twice. Yes, John Stones scored twice in the World Cup. And you had Jesse Lingard with one of the goals of the tournament here. All right. Perfect upper 90 shot. And England won 6-1. England had a little bit of a scare in their first match with Tunisia. Here, they just simply dominated. All right. Panama, good for them that they made their worst first World Cup, but they don't belong. Okay, and I'm not going to say they don't belong, because obviously they're here for a reason. But of course, they're not the most technically gifted teams. Okay. And with Panama, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll get better for the next World Cup. But nonetheless, England, loved the way they played. All right, Raheem Sterling still missing wide open goals. All right, let's not forget that second John Stones goal was off the fact that Sterling missed an easy chance. All right. Sterling's got to do better. He's a great player. I don't know why he seems to struggle with the easy shots. All right. Seems every time he has a sitter, he has trouble putting it into the back of the net. Okay. But of course now, like I said, on Thursday, we got England versus Belgium. That's going to be one of the funner games to watch so far in this tournament, I'm assuming. All right. Harry Kane currently got 5 goals, the Golden Boot leader. All right. He's one ahead of Lukaku, who has also played extremely well. Did leave the game with an injury. Not sure how serious it is. Might have just been one for precautionary reasons for him to be taken out. But nonetheless, I mean, if you're Belgium, you need Lukaku out there. Okay, the guy has been on simply fire. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see what England puts out for that match as far as their defense and all. I mean, you're going to go with Harry Kane. Do you throw Raheem Sterling out there again? I think Sterling only started here because obviously we had the English media leaking their team sheet, and it seemed like Sterling was going to hit the bench and it was going to be Ruben Loftus-Cheek starting. But of course, Dele Alli had to miss the match due to an injury, and maybe that's why Sterling ended up making it back into the 11. But if you get Southgate and let's say Dele Alli is healthy and fit for the game against Belgium, do you start Sterling? I'm not necessarily sure that you do. Okay, Sterling hasn't, like I said, hasn't done well to finish and has struggled. Okay, you need your best out there versus Belgium. So what do? I think that, I don't know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has played well. I don't think you can really afford to put him on the bench. I don't think he's done anything to warrant it. Okay. I mean, looking at Sterling, he did have an assist. He had 1 shot on target, had 1 shot off. Okay. 33 accurate, or 91% accurate as far as his passes. Did have 2 key passes, so he wasn't necessarily terrible, but you expect him to do more as far as scoring. Okay, because he was playing up top with Harry Kane. So we'll see what they end up doing. I mean, it seems like England's going to continue to go with the 3 center backs and Kyle Walker, Stones, and Maguire, and then play Trippier and Ashley Young as the wing backs. All right, and it's worked out well. You got Jordan Henderson sitting back and playing in front of the 3 center backs. Then you got Loftus-Cheek and Lingard controlling the middle, and you got Sterling and Kane, where you got Sterling who could play on the left, right, or have him play centrally. So a bit of a roamer right there. But like I said, I mean, if Dele Alli's healthy, then you go with Dele Alli for that game against Belgium. But it's going to be real interesting. All right. We're going to see. I mean, England's look well. We're going to see how well they do, though, against the top teams. England always tend to become Tottenham and shrink in the big moments. So we'll see if they can fix it up. But nonetheless, I mean, I like the way both of these teams have played. I think it's both deserving that they're both going to be making it out. And, I mean, it's expected. All right. So we'll see what ends up going down. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about Colombia, Poland, and then Senegal, Japan, and then talking about tomorrow's matches. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. So far today, we have talked about Monday's matches. We've talked about Group G's matches. I think that's, Group G's matches, England and Belgium's group. We talked about Group F. And of course, now we talk about Group H. Japan-Senegal. All right. Great game. Definitely a great game. Ended as a 2-2 draw. Senegal, I picked them to make it out of their group. They have looked like the best team in that group. Okay? I mean, it's either them or Japan, and they drew against each other, so that kind of makes it a bit difficult for me to decide. But Japan have played well. Okay? I understand that Colombia was down a man after 3 minutes in that first matchup, but I could care less about that. Japan was the better team there. Okay? And also, Hamas didn't play in that game, so I mean, maybe it would have been a little bit different if he did. Well, he didn't start, but if he wasn't injured, okay, maybe it would have been different. But nonetheless, I mean, Japan did well to get back in this game. You had Senegal taking the lead twice, Japan coming back twice. All right, like I said, it ended 2-2. Keisuke Honda ended up scoring the game-tying goal in the, 72nd minute, 78th or something like that, I think it was. All right. Liga MX player for Pachuca. Did well there, too. And for Senegal, I mean, it's just a point now where you got to handle business against Colombia. All right. And speaking of Colombia, they ended up beating Poland 3-0. Poland stood no chance there, man. All right. Poland, of course, out here with Robert Lewandowski, but they were no match for Senegal. Senegal dominated them along with Colombia. All right. You had Falcao scoring for Colombia, Cuadrado. And I believe it was Juan Quintero that scored for them also, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Or actually, it was Yerry Mina, excuse me. All right. He actually scored the first goal off of a James Rodriguez assist. All right. But nonetheless, now the standings for that group, Japan and Senegal with 4, Colombia with 3. Colombia right now with the best goal differential, but in third given the fact that they have 3 points. And Japan and Senegal have 4. Now you got Japan playing Poland and Senegal playing Colombia. Okay. I picked Senegal and Colombia to make it out the group. We're in a bit of a sticky situation here. That can only happen if these teams tie and Japan ends up losing to Poland. Okay. Obviously, I have to be professional, so I can't root for teams to lose, I guess. At least on the air. But nonetheless, if I was a fan, I'd be rooting for Poland to win. Given the fact that I would like to see Colombia make it out the group, and I want to see Senegal make it out the group. I think Senegal's a team who could make it to the quarterfinal. All right? Senegal most likely, well, not most likely because we don't know yet, but let's say that Senegal ends up drawing with Colombia and Japan ended up losing. We're going to see it where Senegal's up top, Colombia in second. We'd have a Colombia-Belgium, at least from how I think the games are going to go. I'm assuming that Belgium finishes at top of group. Actually, let's look at it right now. Let's look at Belgium's group standings right now. Okay. Just given the fact, I'm not sure what England's goal differential is looking like after that win. So yeah, England right now, they're both at +6 goal differential. So how does that work if they draw? Who wins the group? I think it's, let me see. So if they follow same amount of points, it goes goal differential. So obviously if they tied, that'd be out of it. Goals scored. Belgium has scored 5 goals against Tunisia, 3 against Panama. So they got 8 goals total right now. England currently have 8 also. All right, so then it goes head to head. I don't know how it works out if they tie. I think it goes off of the amount of cards given out. Okay, like yellow cards and all that. I think there's like the fair play rule or whatnot. I think that's what would be deciding it. So these teams tied be off of the fair play rule. Let me see. Is there any way I could figure out how many like cards England has gotten? Let's see. Against Panama, let's see who got a yellow. No one got a yellow, I believe. All right, yeah, so no one got carded against Panama. How about against Tunisia? Is it Tunisia or Tunisia? I've heard it said both ways. Kyle Walker got a yellow, so that's 1. And let's see, anyone from the bench? No, so Kyle Walker, the only one with the yellow. Okay. Looking at Belgium. How many cards have they gotten? Watch, it's only going to be 1. So Belgium, no cards in the match against Tunisia. Against Panama, they see a yellow. De Bruyne, Meunier, Vertonghen, all with yellows there. Off the bench, no yellows. So right now, Belgium's got 3 yellows to England's 1. So if they were to tie it up on Thursday, then I'd say that England ends up winning the group. Okay. So we'd have Senegal versus Belgium and Colombia versus England. I mean, they're both going to be difficult matches for England, and they're both going to be difficult matches for Belgium. Senegal's not a pushover. I understand Belgium's played well, but I wouldn't put it past them beating Belgium. All right. So it's going to be real interesting to see how Group H ends up playing out, just given the fact that, I mean, Japan's not even out of it yet. I'm just trying to see how it would work if Colombia and Senegal made it out. Okay? And Japan have just impressed. I mean, you can't really knock them at all here. All right? Against Colombia, they did their job. Against Senegal, they tied. Okay? Honda's played well. And it's just a point now where Nina Shinji Kagawa and all those guys to step up. Okay? And you got Honda, who's not even starting, too. Maybe you see him get a start against Poland. Who knows? It's going to be a tough game for Japan, just considering the fact that now it's Poland has nothing to lose. They're just going to try and come away with points at least, a win or something. Okay? You don't want to leave this World Cup at least empty-handed as far as wins go. So we'll see if they're able to get it done there, but it's going to be tough. All right? And that Colombia-Japan game is going to be a great one. Let's see. Colombia and Japan on Thursday. What time is that at? That's at 7 o'clock. Well, I mean, Colombia-Senegal. And it's tough, since these games are all at the same time now. It's match day 3. And people are complaining about it, but I think it's just a point where FIFA doesn't want to have teams who are playing later on in the day see the result ahead of them and see, you know what, maybe we could draw here or whatever, and we'll both advance. All right. You want it to be a little bit more organic, so that's why we have them at the same time. So, I mean, you're going to have your pick. Looking forward, I mean, we got Group C match tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We got Denmark, France, Australia, Peru. Denmark, France is obviously the one to watch for there. Then we got Group D at 11. Nigeria, Argentina, obviously the game to watch for there. Group F, we got South Korea, Germany, Mexico, Sweden. I'd say Mexico, Sweden is the game to watch for there. Just considering the fact that this one could be for the group, like to win the group. And also, I mean, if Mexico beats Sweden, then Germany has an opportunity to make it out. All right. So I'd say Mexico, Sweden is the one to watch for there on Wednesday. And then you got Serbia, Brazil. That's definitely the one to watch for Group E. And then we got Group H on Thursday. Like I said, Senegal, Colombia is the one to watch for. And then Group G, it's England, Belgium, and that's no doubt, unless you really want to watch Panama and Tunisia. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, round of 16 going to be taking shape soon. And like I said, it's been a very fun World Cup to watch. I'd say it's been better than last year's already. Okay? No 0-0 draws. I mean, that's perfect for the casual fan. The only thing that's missing is the U.S. men's national team. Well, U.S. men's national team has some solid friendly schedule for after the World Cup. They got Mexico, Brazil. Let me see if I can pull up their friendlies right now. All right. Let's see. Soccer men's national team. They tweeted them out today, I believe. Let me see if I can pick them up. So they got Mexico. That is September 11th. They got Brazil. That is September 7th. England, November. And then Italy in November. So, I mean, there's going to be some fun matches. I wonder, like, they got to send out the young team, right? They're not going to be sending out Dempsey or anyone like that. I hope not. All right. I mean, this team's got to go full-fledged young youth after the summer, or after the World Cup. But I'm curious to see who the U.S. ends up making their head coach. Ends up making their head coach, like who they make their head coach. It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe it's Juan Carlos Osorio, or if Colombia doesn't make it out of the group, I mean, I'm sure Juan Carlos Osorio will end up there. It seems like he's always wanted to go back and coach Colombia, and Mexico's really going to struggle here, considering the fact that Osorio is the best coach they've had in years. All right, at least I think so. So we'll see about it, but nonetheless, I mean, World Cup's been fine so far. Like I said, we got games going on tomorrow. I'm going to say France and Denmark end up drawing. Peru's going to beat Australia. And then as far as Argentina, Nigeria, I'm going to say Nigeria wins and Croatia beats Iceland. All right. And like I said, Argentina's got to win tomorrow. They can't draw against Nigeria. Otherwise, they're out. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough match. And Nigeria looks like they're going to be going right at Argentina, not going to be sitting back or anything. So it's going to be fun tomorrow. A lot of good games. But we're going to wrap it up here. Today we talked about this weekend's World Cup matches and Mondays. All right, we'll be back next Friday. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Like I said, I will be back Friday. So stay tuned till then, and I will talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.